So this strawberry granny square project is absolutely great for beginners because it will be introducing you to various stitches from single crochet up to triple crochet. So you can use any preferred yarn that you would like. And for this project, I used a size 4 weight yarn in 3 colors, and I used a 3.5 millimeter hook. So the hook size that I actually use is smaller than what is recommended because I made my square with the intention of turning it into a bag like this one. So if you also want to make this one for yourself, I hope you would stay tuned because I will also be uploading a tutorial how to make this granny square bag really soon. But for now, let's focus on this granny square, strawberry granny square. So the dimension of the square is 11 centimeters. Again, I used a 3.5 millimeter hook and a size 4 weight yarn. And that's all I have to say. And let's get started. So grab your chosen color of yarn for the strawberry, and we will begin by creating a magic ring. So a magic ring is this adjustable loop where you're going to be crocheting your rounds, and then afterwards you can pull it tightly to secure the center shut. So to make one, start by wrapping on my hook like so, and then just preparing my hand that's gonna control the yarn tension, and then I will be placing my hook into that loop I just made, and then pulling up a loop, and then yarning over and drawing through that same loop on my hook, and then pull tightly to secure, and you just made your magic ring. So to start the round one, we're going to be chaining 3, 1, 2, 3, and then placing a double crochet into the magic ring. So to make a double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into that loop, pull up a loop. You should have 3 loops on your hook, by the way, and then yarn over and draw through 2 loops, and yarn over and draw through the remaining 2. One more time, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over and draw through 2. So currently we now have 3 double crochet because the chain 3 counts as the first stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and for this round we need a total of 12. So just keep repeating this until you have a total of 12 stitches. Since we are just working a double crochet stitches for this round, you should be forming a circle by the end of this round. So make sure to count your stitches and make sure that it's 12, and if you counted right, just pull the tail tightly to secure it shut, and we're going to be joining this round by slip stitching on top of the chain 3 we just did. So the chain 3 is the top of this one. This is the first, second, and the third, which looks like the V. So insert your hook on top of that chain 3. There we go. And then yarn over, pull up a loop, and draw through that same loop on your hook. And we just now completed the first round, so I'm just gonna pull it tightly to really secure it. There we go. So to begin our round 2, we're working with a variety of stitches. So we're now going to be forming the heart. So we start by chaining 1, and into that same stitch, as you can see, we're going to be placing 1 single crochet and 1 double crochet. To make a single crochet, just insert your hook into that same stitch where you slip stitched, pull up a loop, yarn over and draw through both loops. And then make a double crochet into that same stitch. And there we go. Into the next stitch, we're going to be placing 3 treble crochets. So we are going to be forming the curve shape of the heart. So to make a treble crochet, that's yarn over twice, insert your hook into that next stitch, which is right here. Okay, so pull up a loop, You should have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw through 2 loops. Draw through 2 loops and draw through the remaining 2. Again, yarn over twice. Draw through 2, draw through 2, and draw through 2. We now have 2, just one more. Insert your hook into that same stitch still. So now we have single crochet, double crochet into the first stitch of the first round, and then 3 treble crochets into the second stitch of round 1. So moving on to the next stitch, we're going to place 2 double crochets. Into the next stitch, we're going to place half double crochet, so that's yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, should have 3 loops, and yarn over through, draw through all the 3 loops on your hook. One more time. There we go. So at the next stitch, we're going to place 2 single crochets. And then for the next stitch, we're going to place 1 double crochet and 1 treble crochet. So we have now reached the bottom of the heart. So we are now precisely at the bottom of the heart, and we have now completed the left side. So what we're going to the right side is we're just going to be mirroring the stitches we have done already to complete the heart. So for the next stitch, just place 1 double crochet and 2 single crochet into the next stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next one, 2 double crochet into the next stitch, and to form the curve of the heart, we're going to be placing 3 treble crochets into the next stitch, and into that last stitch, we're going to place a double crochet, a single crochet, and a slip stitch. Now, the slip stitch does not count as a stitch, it's just an ending stitch, okay? 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, and 1 slip stitch. So now we have completed the second round, and we have now formed the heart. So we're going to be working one last round, and the strawberry will be done. So insert your hook into the first stitch from round 2, which is the one right here. If you have a trouble identifying it, you can start with, remember that we did 3 treble crochets. So the one beside that will be the double crochet, and the one beside it is the single crochet, which is the shortest, as you can see. So do not confuse it with the chain one. That's not a stitch. So the single crochet with what looks like this sort of V. So you can see that's your first stitch. So insert your hook there and place 1 single crochet for the next 2 stitches. Oh wait. So we're gonna chain 1 first. As a starting chain, okay? So continue, insert your hook into that first stitch, okay, and to the next stitch as well, 1 single crochet, and for the 3 treble crochets, we're going to be placing 2 single crochets in each, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now you might wanna stop here for a second and then place your stitch marker onto that fifth single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is just so you can attach the square for later. So it's just to avoid any confusion. So as I've said, 2 more single crochet into the next stitch. Okay, so remember, place this stitch marker onto that fifth single crochet because that is the marking where we're going to be placing our hook later for when we attach the square. So for the next 7 stitches, place 1 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So for the next stitch, it should be the treble crochet, which is the precisely at the bottom, the, the bottom tip of the heart. So we're going to be putting 3 single crochets into that stitch. That's 1, 2, and 3. So again, we're just mirroring. We have now completed the left side, and we're just gonna mirror what we did on the other side for the right side. So place 1 single crochet in the next 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So as we reach the 3 treble crochets, we're going to be placing 2 single crochets in each of that 3 stitches. So 1, 2, moving on to the next stitch. 1, 2, and another 2 single crochet to the next one. There we go. So we now have remaining 2 stitches. So place 1 single crochet into the next one, and for the last stitch, place 1 single crochet and 1 slip stitch to end the round, and then slip stitch. So we're just going to be fastening off because we are now through with our strawberry heart. To fasten off, just chain 1 and then grab your scissors to cut your yarn. Just pull it tightly to secure. And we are now done with our strawberry heart. So just weave in the ends. So what I can recommend here is when you're weaving in the tail from the center, I would suggest that you go around it at least twice around the double crochet stitches so the center is really securely shut and wouldn't have this small hole. So yeah, just to be really secure, just go around it a few times to really securely shut that magic ring. And once you've done around twice, you can just cut off that end like so. So now that we are done, we're just going to we're gonna crochet the leaves next. So for the leaf, just grab a green yarn, and we're also gonna be starting with the magic ring. So just wrap your yarn. How I do mine is like this, just making a loop, and then insert my hook into that loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, and draw through that same loop. Pull tightly to secure. So for the first leaf, we're gonna be starting with a chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when I work into my chain, I will be inserting my hook onto the second chain from the hook. So that's 1 and 2. But I'm not going to be inserting here. I'm going to be turning my chain, and I will be working on the third loops, or also known as the back ridge loops. So I will just be placing my needle. So this is the back of the chain, the back, this is the front. So when you look at the back, you will see these horizontal stitches there. Those are actually the back ridge loops, or the third loops, and that is what we are going to be working with. So to work into a chain, just skip that first one, and we're going to work with the second chain from hook. So place 1/2 double crochet into the second chain from hook. So again, work through third loops only. Then place 1/2 double crochet into the next chain, into the next 2 chains. One more. And then into the last chain, we're going to be doing 1 slip stitch. And then also 1 slip stitch into the ring we just made. So now we are done with our first leaf. So the reason why we're working in third loops only is because we want to keep the front and back loops unworked in order to maintain that chain outline, which is the V, outline right there. We want to keep it as is for just a neater look. So for the next leaf, we're gonna be chaining 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, skip the first chain and work onto the second chain from hook. So place 1/2 double crochet there, and then 1/2 double crochet into the next chain, and then 1 slip stitch into the last one, and then another into the ring you just made. So just repeat that for the third leaf. Chain 4, 2, 3, 4, 1/2 double crochet in second chain from hook, working on third loops only. One half double crochet in the next one, 1 slip stitch into the next, and 1 slip stitch. Oh wait, I missed a loop, a strand, and then 1 slip stitch into the ring itself. So for our fourth leaf, just chain 5, 5, 1/2 double crochet into the second chain from hook, 1, 2, there we go, and then 1/2 double crochet into the next 2 chains, one slip stitch into the next chain, and 1 slip stitch into the ring. So now we're done with the leaves. We're now going to be working on the stem. To do that, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and for the slip stitches that we're going to be doing, which is also on the third loop, we're going to be working tightly just to make the stem slightly curve inward, like so, just so it curves slightly inward. So working on the second chain from your hook, so this is the first, second, insert your hook there, place 1 slip stitch, working tightly as you go. and then one slip stitch into the next 3 chains. 1, 2, and 3, and one slip stitch into the ring itself. So fast enough, so just chain one, and then so just leave a long tail so you can sew the leaf onto the strawberry heart. Cut your yarn, and there we go. So just pull this tail tightly to close that circle, and there we go. So what I like to do is I like to tie a knot at least twice with my short tail and my long tail just to really secure that magic circle that we did. One more time. And there we go. So we are now ready to sew this leaf onto the strawberry. So what I can recommend here is when you are sewing the top the top part of the leaf in the strawberry, I suggest placing your needle onto the back loops only of the strawberry, which is this one. So this is the back loop. There, that's the back loop. And then when you sew through the leaf, go through both loops. So I'm going to show you. I just hold it in place and then align the stitches and then sew from there. So here I am just holding to align the stitches, and then I'm just placing my needle to the back loop only of the strawberry and both loops on the top of the strawberry leaf. So by doing this, you're able to precisely stitch on top of the strawberry without any of the pink yarn peeking through. So that's just what I like to do. And then we're just gonna sew around the leaf. Sew around like like that. So I'm just seeing where the stitches align, so that's where I place my needle. Sew it like so. So as you can see, since we work only on the third loops, we have this chain outline all throughout the leaf, which is really neat to look at. So I'm just continuing with sewing throughout the leaf. So again, as I reach on top of the strawberry, I go through the both loops on the leaf, but only on the back loop on top of the strawberry, like so. So no need for you to sew the stem. It's just as is, like that. So just when you finish sewing, just leave in your ends. So just hide these ends into the stitches. So now that you have weaved in the ends, we're now going to be sewing on the seeds. So with your scrap yarn, just sew on the seeds. Now you can do this however you like, but for mine, I like to do French knots because I find making French knots just makes the seed pop out better so you can see it more clearly. So I'm going to be teaching you that as well. So to make a French knot, just these are the French knots, by the way. There we go. So to make one, just I'm gonna be start first by securing a knot at the back. Okay. So just bring out your needle as to where you want the seeds to be. And then wrap your yarn at least once or more than once if you have a thinner yarn. And then, so bring your needle out a few strands away from where it came out of, not into the exact same hole, because the knot will just fall through. So here I am placing the needle a few strands away from where it came out, and then pulling the tail slightly to secure the knot. And then I'm just going to pull my needle now. And there we go. There. So again, just bring it where you want the seed to be. Wrap your yarn around the needle and then put it back out a few. And place your needle back a few strands away from where it came out of. And then pull the needle slightly to gently secure the knot. So just feel free to place the seeds wherever you want. I'm just going to place mine wherever it feels like it needs to be. Now that I feel like I already have enough seeds, we are now going to be starting attaching the granny square. So grab your yarn, the chosen color of yarn for your square, and we are going to be attaching it into the middle on the tip of the heart. So just insert your hook on whatever loop you can find, as long as it's in the center. So I'm just gonna insert mine there, and then grab my yarn, just pull up a loop and start with chaining 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now onto that same loop where we attached the yarn, we're going to be making 2 double crochets for a total of 3 stitches, so that counts as the first stitch. So 1 and 2. So now this is where the stitch marker serves its purpose. So for the following stitches, we're now going to be working on the third loops again. So the third loops are looking at the back of your work. So again, it's the horizontal stitches there. It's the ones at the back. Again, we're only going to be working on the back ridge loops or the third loops in order to maintain this chain border of the strawberry. So we're going to be no need to actually remove the stitch marker because we're going to work on the back ridge loop anyway. So just insert your hook into the back ridge loop of this one, which would be this. Okay, so we're going to be placing 3 half double crochets, chain 2, and 3 half double crochets because this one is going to be the corner, which is the one right here. We are currently in here, and we're going to be doing this corner space right here. So let's do that. Yarn over and place 3 half double crochets into that back ridge loop from where you marked your stitch. And now you can remove this. And then place 2 more half double crochets. Chain 2 because this is the corner. 3 more half double crochets into that same loop. There we go. So for this first round of the granny square, we're going to be working again with a variety of stitches because we're working into a strawberry and we're turning it into a square. But for the following round, it's going to be pretty easy because it's going to be repetitive. So only this first round is going to be a lot made up of a lot of various stitches. So working into the middle part now, into the next one. So what you're going to do is skip 3 stitches, still working on the third loop or the back ridge loop. So skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and into that fourth one, place 3 single crochets. 2 and 3. So now we're going to be working on another corner in the next one. So to do that, start by tapping your yarn twice because we're going to be placing 3 treble crochets into the next stitch we're going to be working on. So skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and into that fourth one is where you place your hook. Still working on the third loop, place 3 treble crochets, 2 more, and 1 more. So again, this will be the corner. So chain 1 and then place another set of 3, but this time it's going to be double crochets. So only yarn over once this time. Again, we're still working into that same loop because this is a corner. And when you work into a corner, you work 2 groups of 3. 1 more, and there we go. We just did another corner. So we just finished almost half of it now. And let's continue. So we're only going to be skipping 2 stitches, 1, 2, and place your hook into the third one. And we're going to do 1 single crochet there. So 1, and into the next stitch, we're going to be placing slip stitch only because we are working at precisely at the bottom tip of the strawberry. So there we go. And again, mirroring what we did on the other side. 1 single crochet. And then skip 2 stitches, placing 3 double crochets into 1, 2, 3, and the third one. And this is, again, this is the corner. So we're going to be placing 2 sets of 3 stitches. So the first 3 is double crochet. So now that we have 1, 2, 3 double crochets, chain 1 and place 3 treble crochets into that same loop. So we just did another corner and skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, insert her hook into the fourth loop and place 3 single crochets into that same loop. 1, 2, 3, skip 3 stitches, and we're going to be placing 3 half double crochets into the next one. 1, 2, 3, and insert your hook into the fourth one. And again, this is a corner. 2, 3, so chain 2 and then place 3 half double crochets again into that same loop. So we are now almost done with the first round of our granny square. So to join the round, we're going to be slip stitching on top of the chain 3 we just did. So this is the first, second, and third. Slip stitch into the top of that. And there we go. We are now done with the first round of our granny square. So let's continue. Chain 1. This does not count as a stitch. This is a turning chain because we're going to be turning our work now, and into the next space we're going to be slip stitching because we're going to be working there the what you call the clusters. So the clusters is a group of 3 double crochet stitches, which is what the regular granny square is made up of, as you can see. So as I have mentioned before, now that we are through with the first round and the turning the strawberry into a square, it's now going to be easier because the pattern is now going to be repetitive. So it's going to be made up of clusters, made up of 3 double crochets, and chain 2 when you reach the corner. So I'm just going to show you. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, which counts as the first double crochet, and we need 2 more because we're working in clusters, which is 3 double crochets. So now, working into the chain 2 space, we're going to be placing 3 clusters separated by a chain 2. So go ahead, place 3 double crochets into the corner space, 1, 2, 3, then chain 2, 1, 2, and place another 3 double crochets into the same corner space, 1, 2, 3. So you should have 2 spaces in the middle, and you're going to be placing 3 double crochets in each, or 1 cluster in each. Again, as you reach the corner, we're going to be placing 2 clusters and separated by chain 2. So 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, 3. So this is just pretty repetitive. And then place your hook into that. You're going to place your hook into that spaces right here. So place 3 double crochets into that space, and then another in the next one, and as you reach the chain 2 corner space, chain 1 corner space, because we only chained 1 here. So as you reach the corner space, place 2 clusters separated by chain 2. 1, 2, 3, and then chain 2, cluster, 1, 2, 3. So work 2. So work 1 cluster here in the space and work 1 cluster into this space. So the next space is a little bit smaller than compared to this one, but it's the one right here in between the half double crochet and the single crochet. So insert your hook there to that space. It's gonna get eventually gonna get stretched out as you work in clusters. So now it's more visible now that we place the cluster. So just again place 2 clusters into the chain 2 corner space, and 3, and then chain 2, and then a cluster, 1, 2, and 3. So into that chains, no, into just that space, place 1 cluster, and we are almost finished with our round 2 of granny square. So to join, just slip stitch on top of the chain 3, and we are now done with our second round. So for the third round, chain 1, which again does not count as a stitch, it's only a turning chain for you to turn your work. So the reason why we are turning our work is this method allows the granny square to be able to allow the granny square to lay flatly, because if we just work on the same side in rounds, can get it can have this tendency to curl upward. So in order to prevent that, we are turning our work in each round to help the granny square to lay more flatly. So after chaining 1, just insert your hook to slip stitch into that space. This does not count as a stitch again. It's just for you to get where you needed to be for you to start your clusters. So chain 3, which counts as the first double crochet stitch, and then place 2 more. So as you notice, for the round 2 we had 2 middles, so 2 clusters in each of the corners. So for the round 3, we are now going to be having 3 middles, or 3 clusters in the middle. So this is 1, 2, 3 in each of the in between the corners. So that's our first cluster in the middle, and then work another cluster here, and then when you reach the chain 2 corner space, 2 clusters separated by chain 2. So as you can see, there is a pattern going on. So if ever you want to make your own granny square, you can just do it on your own. It's pretty easy to increase because it's just a repetitive pattern. So you reach the chain 2, 1 cluster, chain 2, 1 cluster into that same chain 2 space, and then work 3 clusters in the middle into the middle spaces, 1 cluster in each. Second cluster, third cluster, chain 2 space, so place 1 cluster, chain 2, and then 1 cluster again. So you just repeat that until you reach the end of the round. So we now have one middle space left, so go ahead and place one cluster there. And then to end this round, we're going to be slip stitching on top of the chain 3 and then fasten off our yarn by chaining 1. Then grab your scissors and just cut the yarn, pull it tight to secure, and then I'm just gonna be pulling the square to have this square shape more. So there we go. We're now finished. Just gonna weave in the ends real quick. Mm, that's okay. So there we go. You're now done with your strawberry granny square.